think of the best attackers in the Premier League, you immediately think of Haaland, Isak, Salah, Palmer, but a little further down that list should be the underrated, the powerful, the prolific Antoine Semenyo. 25 goals and 10 assists since joining Bournemouth. 9 goal contributions versus the Big Six so far, and only Haaland has more goal contributions this year, this season, than him so far. The Ghanaian is establishing himself as one of the finest wingers in the Premier League. So it's time we take a look at that. Now, Antoine Semenyo is a Bristol City Academy graduate who arrived in the Premier League of January 2023 when the Cherries paid over 10 million for his services. Since then, he's slowly developed, but Andoni Iraola can be considered a huge influence on his overall game, platforming him on the right-hand side of Bournemouth's 4-2-3-1. That 4-2-3-1 aims to be high-pressing, aggressive, whilst maintaining that tempo on the ball, with the Cherries aiming to be fast, maximising the widths of the pitch with direct intent. If you'd like to hear more of Iraola's genius, then feel free to browse on my channel a few weeks back. But before we take a deep dive into Semenyo's game, let's have a look at what the data is saying as of this season and last. The 24-25 season was Semenyo's best to date in performance, 16 goal contributions and a high finish for the Cherries. As we can see here, there's some impressive numbers and a league rank as well, showcasing Semenyo's quality compared to the rest. First, we can learn Semenyo shared his goals out with either foot, providing good balance and unpredictability in front of goal. The Ghanaian's also brilliant at beating his man, carrying the ball forwards directly into more open space and receiving the ball very high up the pitch, as we can see. All of this was being a very aggressive asset off the ball in Iraola's very tricky high press, with the amount of fouls he's been winning. His form last season has translated across to this season, with again some outstanding stats, similar ranks and plenty of action all round. The 25-year-old is mostly deployed on the right hand side for Bournemouth, but Iraola has tweaked him over to left hand side numerous times. This all depends on the opposition fullback. Against Spurs, Iraola targeted the weaker defensive fullback with the Ghanaian, which was Pedro Porro, and Semenyo had a field day against Pedro Porro, having lots of success and beating him quite a few times. So as you can imagine, Semenyo is a fantastic 1v1 asset, but the most impressive trait I like and I noticed of Semenyo is his two-footedness. It's a strength that is lost on so many wingers, but not Antoine Semenyo. For a winger, it can be such a key tool to use against opponents when you have the confidence to swing the ball on either way, and with Semenyo's prolific record in front of net, that is a dangerous aspect to come against. When he receives the ball, Semenyo is a mentally direct asset that will look to carry the ball forward straight away. His two-footedness comes into play here as he's confident receiving it on one foot and then shifting over to the other to dribble. Semenyo is capable of opening his body up very swiftly, allowing for him to begin his forward carrying almost instantly and very quickly. Those two tools of two-footedness and swift agility come into play massively within those tight spaces. When the Ghanaian finds himself in a tight, congested space with oncoming tacklers, his ability to improvise, turn his way out of danger, whilst also using his body to guard the ball is absolutely superb. The play can sometimes become quite scrappy, but his retention of the ball is impressive here, and that change of direction gives him just that bit of space, that yard of space to drive away and escape his opponents so well. And now that he's escaped, now that he's 1v1, now that we're looking at his dribbling, this is where it gets tasty. Semenyo's ability to fool defenders by twisting and turning relentlessly makes life a nightmare for defenders. Defenders struggle to angle their body to anticipate where he's going, as you can see here against Burnley. Dara O'Shea has to stay reluctantly neutral as he's flirting towards his left side, knowing full well Semenyo's right foot can do a lot of good and can punish him, but he can't properly commit to closing down the angle as he knows Semenyo is just as good on his left. He gets stuck and Semenyo buries the shot into the back of the net. Bournemouth's number 24 is deadly in this department. He'll often slow the drive down and decelerate before he aims to twist and turn because he's aware of how effective that trickiness can be. He's confident when facing a fullback 1v1 that he's going to fool him and earn that acre of room to shoot freely at the goal. Sometimes he'll be slowly driving at his man, not giving anything away as it's incredibly difficult to read him. He isn't obvious or clear in his body execution, he's more distinct, as seen once again against poor old Burnley. He's casually moving forwards with the ball quite coolly on his right foot. The defender offers him too much space, he's backpedaling, and Semenyo punishes him with a deadly cut onto his left foot. Clinical and ruthless as always. Against Chelsea, you can see him versus Achimpong, receive it on his left, get the ball out of his feet, dribble on the right, and then shoot on his left. Many goals switch between either foot. It's brilliant. Southampton probably suffered the most against the Ghanaian as he was constantly twisting and turning, inside, outside, which could simply not be stopped. Even against Liverpool this season, he isn't visually the fastest in his progression of the ball, but it's that distinct swing of his right foot that Konate gets sent by that gives him that space to chop back on his left foot. But this isn't to say that he's incapable of an intense drive. He makes his mind up early on how he'll approach the goal and the defender and doesn't change. His 1v1 cruising past opponents is amazing, but it's worth noting that Semenyo doesn't hold on to the ball for too long either. He shares prowess in close ball control against opponents, but also distributing the ball quickly and accurately into the underlapping spaces. If you give him a run, if you give him a bit of action around him, he'll thrive. Talking of action, once it becomes a little chaotic, uncoordinated, messy in the box, Semenyo thrives in chaos commonly, using his physicality to really battle and beat his opponents, adding to another layer of his game alongside his long throw-ins like we saw against Arsenal, his penalty taking, and then effective movements in the box. Semenyo is a brilliant sprinter, especially in transition up the pitch, who eats up ground and then arriving in the box excels in back post positioning and movement for that cross. What he can also do is pause his run and look for the cutback, like he did against Manchester United. He's a master of movement when you handle him with the possibility of a low cross into his feet. The final component to his qualities on the ball we haven't yet discussed is his shooting at the goal. Semenyo commonly likes to strike the ball a little lower at the goal, as we can tell by his shot map last season. Sometimes when he does direct it high, he does have the tendency of looping it too high and well over the bar. Semenyo's a very confident finisher with an excellent eye for the back of the net. Whether that's left foot, right foot, he strikes it very coolly, sometimes intensely, as he's incredibly instinctive when it comes to attacking the box on crosses in particular. His finishes into the lower corners are exactly what you want from your winger. But what else you want from your winger is intensity, hard work, those off-the-ball qualities that you can rely on, not only as a fan, but for Andoni Iraola as well. Iraola's system contains a whole lot of running, whether that's closing down, chasing back, charging forwards. Semenyo spends plenty of his time acting as a very aggressive force when closing down opponents, sometimes too aggressive from the amount of fouls he gives away and the 9 yellow cards he picked up last season as well. But the Ghanaian is more than capable of closing down a man, chasing a lost cause to some extent, using his strength to battle and anticipate the play by maximising his speed and strength, posing as a super reliable, tricky player to come up against, and that is why Iraola values him so highly. He is truly an all-action, tricky nightmare of an asset to come up against. At 25 years old, it wouldn't surprise me if big clubs come sniffing down the Vitality Stadium for Bournemouth's right winger. He's a brilliant player who does struggle for consistency towards the end of a season, whether that's mentally, psychologically, or just within his fitness with how athletically demanding Iraola's system can be. But ultimately, he's a player that the Cherries are very lucky to have tied down to a recently signed contract within the summer. He's an amazing player one of the best wingers in the Premier League, one of the most underrated players in the league, and someone that I thoroughly enjoy watching. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, feel free to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think of Antoine Semenyo and his performance this season? Has he been one of the best attackers in the Premier League? How good of a winger and how high do you rank him? Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.